last night, I decided this 3/4 inch plate might be a little too thick for what we're going to do here. I had some 1/2 inch plate that was left over from a job that, well, the guy said he didn't want this, so, and it just happened to perfectly match up with the dimensions we already have. But I think we're going to move forward with using this. I just think this was going to be overkill. It was going to have, the bolts were going to have too much stick out. Not stick out, but there's going to be too much bolt going through the plate to, I think I'll like this a lot better. You'll notice in the background running around, the supervisors are on site today. Don't mind them. Now, I noticed in the video, when I was editing the video last night, that the detail on the things that I've done so far wasn't the best. So I will take this time to kind of show you a little better of how the mechanisms work. So I just want to take this time to show you in detail this mechanism here. It's fairly simple, as ugly as it is. What it originally was a dump trailer hinge, tailgate hinge, that a customer had brought to me, requested replacement. That I don't ever throw anything away, so I kept it around and it worked great as a hinge. So the way it works is I have this bar, stick it in here, and then I can pick up on that that piece of wire, and it moves this little, call it a dog. Not that dog. And it just falls into place whenever you put pressure on it. And when you want to release, just like that. And then this is what the mechanism that will roll the engine over looks like. I think these are fairly common. I picked this stuff up off of eBay for less than $50. So it's a 28 spline slack adjuster. I forget what make and model the S-Cam fits, but it's fairly common. 1.5 inches is the OD of the shaft. So what I'm trying to accomplish here is essentially just to copy the Harbor Freight mount. We're just going to use something a little more substantial than this thin wall pipe. This is pretty close to 1/2 inch. I'd call it 3/8. We're gonna step up to 1/2 inch from that, but not quite the 3/4. Yeah, my torch cuts aren't the best on that. The tip was a little small for what I was doing, but they say 4 people have 4 ways. As you can tell by my high-dollar phone mount. Works pretty good. So we're going to start today by transferring these dimensions onto this plate. We'll then cut the slotted holes. I may drill each end of the slots so that we have a little bit better. It worked, but it didn't work well. We'll cut the slots in, put our center hole in, then we will cut the end off the S-Cam, insert it in here and weld it up.
So a tip when you're laying steel out is always mark your reference points. Center. This chalk gets brushed off, and you'll see here soon we're going to go over to the drill press and we're going to drill the ends here, here, and here. So we get nice, clean, crisp edges. But when you drill, you usually use oil, and it'll wash the chalk off any references that you have. So like this circle that we need to cut out, after we drill it, there won't be much for the chalk left. So just a tip. So I usually keep 3 drills on the drill press. There's a small bit for my pilot hole. I have a 3/8, and I have a 1/2 inch. Those are my most common hole sizes, so they just stay right there. And occasionally I do keep a 5/16 close by when I'm tapping 3/8/16. Yeah.
So as you can see, it makes quite the mess. But that's how you keep your bits cool. You can keep them cutting good for a long time. So now what we'll do is we'll go back through, we'll draw lines between each point. We'll put a couple center punches. With the paint that's on this steel, the lines will probably go away again as I'm cutting it. But we'll put a center punch just to give us a reference halfway through as we're cutting. So, hope you guys are enjoying it so far.
Okay, so I think that worked out much better. That tip is a little closer to the size you'd use for cutting 1/2 inch. It'll get through the 3/4, but you got to chew on it a little bit. But definitely like that much better than that.
Okay, so I went ahead and I cleaned this up with the grinder. I'm sure you guys are tired of watching me grind stuff, so I just went ahead and did that off camera. Now we need to get this cut off, the end of this S-cam cut off, so that we can get it to fit into that hole. Let's just do a quick test fit here, make sure we're close. Yeah, we have more than enough room. That should work out well. So I'll go ahead, I'll get this cut down, and we'll get it mounted. All right. Okay, so we'll need to get back to this. I better shut that off. We'll get back to this after a bit. So we'll work on cutting this off now. Now, it appears the ends are case hardened. I don't know exactly what steel this is. I'd imagine it is some sort of tool steel. Maybe just slightly harder than cold rolled. But anyhow, we'll find out how it welds. Try and get this loaded in here straight. Okay, enough of that. It obviously is hardened. I think what we'll do is we'll cut it with the torch, and then try and let it cool slowly, try and anneal it some. See how it works out. I'll just try and just start burning it here. I'll have to nibble on it, I think. So. Well, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so without knowing what metal this actually is, we're just going to take and we're going to make our best guess at it, and we're just going to wrap it up in some leather gloves. And I have some insulation left over from insulating the shop, and I'll just wrap it up and try and let it cool slowly. That way we end up with possibly a softer metal. Some steels, they're air hardening, so this would be, this would be useless, but we will find out. Well, that's just going to have to do for now. Another good way of doing this, if you want to soften a hard metal, you take it and you heat it up till near when it's non-magnetic, which is almost a white hot, I believe. And then you stick it in a bucket of sand or vermiculite, and you allow it to cool slowly like that. I don't know that we ever really got this hot enough to properly anneal it, but we'll give it a shot. Where I cut it is where we're going to weld it. So if I can get that just a little softer, that'll put my mind at ease for when we go to weld the plate on the end. I don't have to worry about it being too brittle and want to crack and basically fall off. We are going to be putting a 1,200 pound engine on this, so do what we can when we can.